Royal Enfield Classic 350, and this is the a video about the rear seat removal. And now you can see I already got the seat off, so I'm not going to put it back on to show you the video, but it's a very simple thing. You can see there's a bolt there that comes right through the seat. That's the bolt right there. That's the hole that it comes through. So you just go down and bolt that. That's a 12 millimeter. You just need get a box end wrench and then a ratchet on the other side. Take that bolt out. And then you got this bolt here. This is a 17 millimeter on the front and the back right there. Right? It's going to be more difficult. It's going to be kind of hidden behind this piece right here that's on the bike. That bolt is going to be behind there, so it's actually wedged in there. All you really need to do is loosen that. Don't take the bolt out. Just loosen it. Loosen it about like 3 or 4 turns until you get it somewhat loose. And you're going to need maybe a deep socket over there because it's got that acorn on the top of it. So you need a deep socket, 17 ratchet, and then a box end. And it's the same thing on the other side. You just loosen that. And here's a tip: before you loosen that, I would put a microfiber towel or whatever on this fender underneath the seat, because there really isn't anything holding the seat up, and you don't want it to fall and scratch your fender. I would put something underneath the seat, and then when you go to take this out, you'll see. You see how it's a slot like that? You're really going to have to move it back this way. You're going to have to move it back towards the rear rather than up and down. So once you get it loose, you're going to want to move it to the back and the seat will come right off. And I went ahead and just stored the same bolt back in here. I might put it back in there, but I don't know if it's going to be slopping around. I really don't want it flopping around if I don't. But the seat seems to be fine with me on it without that bolt back in. But I might go ahead and throw that back in there so I don't lose the bolt, and I don't think it's going to do anything either way. But if there's too much slack and the thing's just rattling around, I'll take it out. And the next thing I'm going to do with it is the rear pegs. Since I'm taking the seat off, I'm going to get the rear pegs off. And it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of hard to show you on an ideal setup here because I don't really have a tripod. I'm really just holding this with my phone. But there's a little spring clip underneath here, and they sell pliers. I'll show you when it's off. That when you squeeze it, it kind of just expands that ring around there, and then you can slide it off, and then you can just pull this pin out. And once you pull that pin out, you'll see that there's a bolt in there. If you can see it, it's a bolt right here, and that just bolts this piece on to here. And there's a nut on the other side of that. So I'm probably going to take that off and just get rid of that and just fill that in. That way it looks clean in the back end. And I'll take those pieces off and I'll show you how that goes together. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. These are like a little snap ring here. And what you need is a tool like this. They're called like snap ring pliers. That's probably not the real name for it, but what you do is you want to hook those in there, and then when you squeeze down on this, it spreads them, and then you can just kind of push that right off, and that's how you're going to get that off. And that's the toughest part of that right there, is just actually, if you're a young man, you got young man eyes, you can see that no problem, but I had a hard time. I had to get a flashlight in there, and it just took a hard time, just seeing it with all that black there. But I got those off, and that's what you got to do to get those off. Then the next thing you do to get the pegs off, you put that down, and you just really this pin is just gonna come right out of there. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We'll just take that pin out, and there you go. And there's a little, be careful, there's a little bearing in there. Let me see if I can focus it on my hand there. There's a little bearing that's in there. And that is right here. Looks like it was right in this spot right here. It's hard to see, but looks like it was right there, just to kind of give it something to pivot on. So just be careful of that. That's going to come popping out. When it does, just catch it and kick it with your pots. Okay, we get the back bracket off, and how we did that was this. There's this bolt that just kind of runs through here, and that's a 17 millimeter. And there's also, you can see on this, there's a little, you see that little nub there, there's a little locator. Shows you where that goes if you're going to reinstall that. Now I'm gonna get like a little grommet to go in there, something plastic or something like that, just to kind of cover that up, so I don't see that hole. But I'll do that. I'll go to the hardware store and get something to cover that up. Oh yeah, and a tip: when you get your 17 mil, you're gonna want to go underneath. Oops, just about touched it. You're gonna want to go underneath with your ratchet like this, and get underneath there, and then you'll have enough room to actually, you know, turn to get that off. If you try to get in over here, you're not gonna have really, you're not gonna have any room to go. So you got to get in from underneath. But you can leave the exhaust on. That's fine. You can get right in underneath. Just get a regular. I wouldn't get a deep socket. Just a regular 17 mil socket, and you should be able to get that off. And this is what it looks like with the rear peg off. You see a nice clean look. You don't even notice it. Get that hole, but I'm going to put a grommet in there, some kind of plastic cover, and usually get a black plastic cover, then everything will look nice. And that's how you get the rear seat and the foot pegs off.